You are listening to Chi O Conversations, a podcast about anything and everything that matters to Chi Omegas.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of our podcast. Thank you for joining us. I'm Leslie Harrington, CEO for Chi Omega, and with us today is Sonal Patel-Cochran. She's a 2002 initiate of Psi Gamma chapter at Mercer University. And after graduation, Sonal began working as a clothing buyer and stylist. She then found her passion as an interior designer and eventually created her own brand, Tribe, focusing on design that honors a variety of world traditions. Her brand is based in Atlanta, where she lives with her husband, Russ, and her two children, Mira and Zane. Sister Sonal, we are so honored to have you with us today. Thank you for making time to be with us.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here, and it's an honor. You are all such a part of such an impressive sisterhood, so thank you.
Well, you're a part of it too, and let's start with that. Let's start with your Chi Omega experience. When you attended Mercer, what made you interested in joining a sorority, and specifically, what drew you to Chi Omega?
Absolutely. It was really the rush process that got me hooked because honestly, I didn't know much about sororities. You know, my parents didn't go to American colleges, so I didn't have that history to draw on. And my knowledge of the Greek system was very stereotypical, like TV movie kind of stuff. So, but then being on campus, not knowing anyone, I, decided to go with the flow. My dorm mates were so excited about it. So I jumped in, and the moment that I entered the Chi O house, it felt right. I'm the kind of person that's like, you go with your gut kind of girl. And I felt like I could be myself. I saw diversity, which was so important for me because that was not always present in the small town that I grew up in. So yeah, it just felt like home immediately.
Well, I have heard many a Chi Omega say that same exact thing. You know, it felt like home. It felt like a warm fuzzy, or I could finally exhale. You know, that's how a lot of people describe it. And it sounds like you felt the same way.
Definitely.
What would you say is your favorite Chi Omega memory from your time at Psi Gamma chapter?
Of course, I have so many. Probably one of the favorite things I did was the year that I was GM. I had never really had a leadership role like that before. And so it was so much fun to work with the new members and watch them fall in love with the sisterhood. And I got to tap into my creative side, which is a huge part of what I do now. But back then it really wasn't. So that was kind of the beginning of me kind of learning more about myself, which is, always a good thing. So I really loved being able to start those relationships. And you really got to also know a whole different side of the sisterhood because, it's working with all those girls that are outside of your specific class and different things like that. So it was just a great way to expand on my relationship with everybody.
Well, we always say that in Chi Omega, your sisters kind of show you or help you to realize what can be possible for you. And it sounds like they noticed something in you that maybe you didn't even notice in yourself.
Oh, yeah, I definitely think so. And I mean, I can talk more about that later, but I really think it really made my college experience and really kind of changed what I think I would end up doing going forward.
Well, tell us about that. Tell us about the essence of your brand Tribe and what drives your work in Tribe every day.
A lot of different things. Well, one of the main ways I connect with my heritage, my Indian American heritage, is the way color and craft is so present in every part of life. And a lot of my inspiration draws from the incredible textile history of the tribal regions surrounding the area where my family comes from. So being able to travel and see the roots of designs and objects that are, also mass produced right now is really eye-opening. And I wanted to be a small part of showing how traditional art can really still be modern in an everyday setting, and we can still, bring it out from the cultures where all of those processes originate. Just going more into how Tribe started, I had personally sourced things for my own home and for design clients from people I had met while traveling, mostly internationally. And when COVID hit, there were a lot of indigenous communities that 100% had relied on tourism to be able to produce their traditional crafts, and be able to operate their lifestyle from that. And so they were hit really hard, right, when tourists aren't coming. So they really lost that source of income. And I had really made friends with those people. So Tribe ended up being born as a retail business out of partnering with them to create product that I could sell here and try to bring back some of that sustainable income. And I have so many incredible partners now. It's really, really fun being able to design and work directly with them on their timeline at a pace that they like and at a fair price that they have a say in. It's really great to make things that are beautiful to look at and also have some meaning behind them. So.
Well, absolutely. I'd love even to hear a story or two about the artisans that you work with. And you talked a little bit about why you feel so compelled to take their products global, but go into that a little bit more. I want to hear about them as people, their story.
Absolutely. Well, there's so many different ones. Right now we work with people in Mexico, Colombia, Guatemala, Morocco, Uganda, Rwanda, all over India. I'm sure I've missed somewhere. Fortunately, business has been going well. So we've certainly expanded all of the things that we do. And it's all from places that fortunately I've been able to go. And an example I love is for several years, my sister and her family moved down to the south of Mexico, very close to the Guatemala border. They lived there for a couple of years. We had the opportunity to go visit them several times. And my sister also is very passionate about, community textiles, supporting those types of crafts. And so when I was down there, we wandered through the markets, just in awe of all of the wonderful things that were being produced. We got to know the people making them and were able to make friendships with them and just talk to them about their process, why they like to make different things, why it's important, for them culturally, and why they continue to make these things in hopes that, the process doesn't have to stop. Because a better way, I guess, to be able to provide for your family is maybe a more traditional type of job or things like that. But I definitely believe that there is a customer out there that appreciates these things. And we definitely don't want those talents and those artists to sacrifice the things that they make to be able to, to do something else. So anyway, it's really just through networking and making friends, people that genuinely love to make their traditional crafts. They're proud of them. They want people to know about their heritage and their culture, beyond just food or language, just that, all of the wonderful things that come from things that we see every day, and, patterns and colors and decorative things that we take for granted. There's, a story behind them. There's a reason why there's birds on something, or patterns that are, zigzagged, or different things like that. So it's fun to learn from those people, and they're so generous with allowing us to work with them to create product that we think will be popular, in the United States, because everybody obviously has different tastes all over the world. So it's not always easy to make things unless you know the market. So that's a way for, to take their product global, is to try to find ways for them to reach the different types of customers by working with them to kind of develop new things to be able to expand their business and support their families in a way that they feel good about.
Well, that's an interesting business problem to have, to not really be able to remember all the countries that you work with when you are trying to list them out. I think that's a wonderful problem. How does that work with communication? Are you guys multilingual? How do you communicate?
Yes. So, well, it's interesting because I definitely have help, and we are very fortunate that so many people outside of this country do speak English. I do speak French and also Gujarati, which is a native language, the region of India that my family comes from, but it's only spoken in that area. So it doesn't really help me when I leave that area. But French is very useful in parts of Africa and absolutely in Morocco. So that has been wonderful. And my sister is completely fluent in Spanish, especially living down in that part of the world as well. So I have help with that. But again, like I said, it's very fortunate that so many people also speak English. And I use technology for the most part to communicate with everybody. My phone blows up pretty much 24 hours a day with all of the different time zones happening. So
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's really great to be able to do video chats. I mean, I will do FaceTime with people right there in the marketplace since, we haven't been able to travel as much because of COVID.
Sure.
So,
Mm-hmm.
we'll just do our meetings face to face on phones, or if it's, it's a community where technology is less accessible, we've definitely found partners there. There's a lot of like wonderful charities and different things in those areas where you can find a connection to kind of work as an intermediary for you.
Well, I spent some time as I was preparing for this conversation on your website. I've got a cart full of stuff, just so you know. But what I noticed and what stood out to me was there's so much color and it's beautiful. And I'm coming to you in a black sweater. So do you find that when you're helping people with their own style or their own interests, even in home decor, that people are afraid of color, or do you feel like people are more open to it?
Yes. Oh no, everybody is afraid. Everyone is so afraid of color and pattern, but everybody at the same time really loves it.
Yeah.
It's, everybody just really, the thing I hear the most is, oh, I can't pull that off, or, oh, nobody comes in this room, so I don't need to go all out. And I'm like, well, but you do, what you surround yourself with makes you happy, and it really has an impact. And we start small. I say, if they want to try color, we just start small and we build upon that. And, people will find that once they start, they kind of can't stop adding
Yeah.
on to it. And then there's also ways to not use color and also have like a really interesting, um, decorative aspect to your home or yourself. I actually, surprisingly to most people, my bathroom is completely black and white, but it's
Okay.
a mix of about a bazillion different patterns. So there are different ways to not use color and also kind of create, a lot of interest or mixed textures. And I would say, most of what I share on my website and on my social media is definitely very colorful. I feel like that's where I'm different. And I think, people can really get ideas from that. But on a day-to-day basis, I also work with people that don't like color. And like I said, once we start sneaking it in there, people get hooked and they really like it. So, and don't be afraid to ask for help. Like, I have so many clients who they want to use color, but they don't know how. So then they just don't do it. But there is certainly value, whatever your budget is, big or small, to get that little bit of help, somebody coaching you to decorate a space. And once you're in that space, I think you really feel the value of what it can do to lift your mood, to make you feel like yourself, to make you feel like you're at home. So that's the other tip I give people a lot is to, it's an investment in yourself to really get the help to create a space for yourself like that, if, that's what you want.
Well, you've inspired me. Tomorrow I'm coming to work in cardinal and straw head to toe. That is what I'm
Okay, I
doing.
love it.
No more black. No more black. Well, you are a one-woman business entrepreneur. So was there anything that you learned in Chi Omega that inspires your work today?
Um, oh my gosh, probably so many things. I think I touched on leadership for sure.
Yeah.
I held a couple different offices on the executive board, and that was really like a business crash course, just running meetings, planning things, time management, confidence, most of all. That's the one I use the most. And we talked earlier
Yeah.
about how your sisters really can build you up and help you find yourself. And that's been one of the biggest things for me. I think, even now, the relationships I have with my sisters, they're still some of my best friends. They give me that courage to jump and try something new, start a business right when COVID hits and just cross your fingers that it works out. Crazy things like that. So, all of that I definitely keep with me.
Well, how else have your Chi Omega sisters supported you? Do you have Chi Omega customers that are regulars?
I do. I absolutely do. I have the best Chi Omega friends and customers. They are my biggest cheerleaders. And even like you said, even if, my aesthetic is definitely not for everyone, it's kind of bold and bright and it's fun to look at, but it's not always something people want in their home. But those sisters are still amazing, for just following you on Instagram, dropping you a comment, just all those little words of encouragement are just as valuable, like to me, like just to help you keep going. Running a small business is hard. There's so many ups and downs. So that aspect to it is just as important to me, getting that encouragement.
Well, we all have it, that self-doubt, right? And the
Right.
voice in your head that, is so intimidating sometimes. But your sisters, I feel like, always see something in you, and are never doubting you the way that you do. So it's nice to
Right.
have Chi Megas around you when you try something new. Out of all the incredible places that you have traveled, where is your favorite, would you say? And which one has had the most impact on your business?
Okay, well, that is probably the hardest question you're going to ask me today. It's so hard to choose. Fortunately, I have been able to go so many places, so many more on the list. A top one, I would say Kenya. My parents actually grew up in Kenya. They were born in India, but
Hmm.
they spent their entire childhood and young adult life in Kenya. Um, so that's really home for them. And I got the opportunity to visit there quite a few years ago for the first time, which was wonderful, just as far as, feeling that family history, but also such an incredible landscape. I am a huge science and nature nut. I love animals. Going on safari is probably, one of the best experiences of my life. And, interestingly enough, nature is also a huge source of inspiration for a lot of the collections that we do. While I'm traveling, we always are going hiking or trying to see all of the natural elements out there. And there's so many beautiful ways to put together color stories and different things from the landscapes you see out there. So anyway, Kenya, awesome place to go. As far as business, it's a big tie between Morocco and India. I develop most of my product in those areas, but they also give me the most inspiration, just the environment alone, the color, the food, the overdose on patterns. I'm really looking forward to going back.
Well, that's the only overdose I can get behind. I mean, it is just gorgeous, everything on your website.
Thank
Well,
you.
aside for being such a, what I consider to be a smart, savvy businesswoman, you're also super cute. So tell us about your own personal style, and what does that say about you as a person?
Well, thank you for that. First of all, it's very sweet. My style has evolved over time for sure. I definitely dress for myself and no one else. I think I wear my personality more on the outside. I'm not an outgoing person, so it feels
Hmm.
good to kind of tell people who I am through my clothing, always colorful, always bold. And honestly, it's always an easy conversation starter for someone like me who has a hard time with that. It's a great way to start talking to somebody when you're wearing something interesting. And it's also just a celebration of just, being comfortable in my skin right now and being, proud of where I come from and being Indian American. I love to kind of throw that into my style.
Yeah, well, it does. It says a lot about you and all good things. How do you think that your life may have been different if you didn't join Chi Omega?
Well, I may be repeating myself, so I apologize, but I don't know if I would be on this path. Going into college, which I think a lot of people are, pre-med biology major. That was kind of what was expected of me. But like I said, my sisters really championed my creative side, gave me that courage to follow my heart. I ended up graduating as an art major of all things, and that's definitely played a part into getting me to where I am now. So, um, it definitely changed directions. Hopefully I would have ended up here at some point, but this version of the path has been, I think, the best.
I know your family is proud of you, but I have to know, what did they think when you switched your major, your
Oh
degree?
my gosh. Well, as a mother now, I can imagine how wild that must have been. At first, I think it was just a shock. I think it was just a surprise because I guess I really hadn't really explored that part of myself or talked about it, before. But over the years, as they've seen me kind of really hopefully blossom into that aspect of my life, like I think it's just, it's like, how did we miss this? Like, this is just the natural fit. And my mom is also one of my biggest fans and customers, so it worked out great.
Oh, good. I mean, moms, they always understand. And you just
They
happen
do.
to be good at pre-med and stuff too. So multi-talented. What else, Sonal, would you like Kai Mega to know today? Do you have any parting style or decorating tips for us all?
um, I do. Let's see. Omega in general, I just want to say, because it's so important to me, like like all of us, super busy person. I probably fill my plate with too many things, but one thing I always make time for is girl time. We
Yeah.
definitely always try to plan, like, our sisterhood girls weekend. I have wonderful friends from my pledge class that I still get to see on a regular basis, but just to get away and still have that time together is really important. And it gets super hard with everyone's busy schedules, but it is so worth it. And if you haven't been doing it all these years like I have, I would just, it's not too late to start. Like it really just, it just, it's just something I think everybody needs. So I encourage everybody to tap into their friendships from that time, and try to, make time for it. It's important. And then let's
Never,
see, what
yeah.
else? Um, Parting style or decorating tips. I think I talked about it
Yeah.
already, but once again, like the things that you surround yourself with can be so powerful in, just building your confidence and lifting your spirit. And I really think design, oftentimes color, plays a huge role in that. When when you're in a chaotic space, I think it definitely rubs off on your mood and your day and different things like that. And when you create a space that feels like you, and feels finished and colorful and interesting, layered with things, maybe if you haven't been able to travel, but there's still things from all over the world, you might be inspired to travel, it just keeps you cognizant of different parts of the world. And I think what you surround yourself with is really important, and just to take the time to create that space for yourself. That's my big design tip.
Well, I think that's great advice. I mean, first, it's never too late to reconnect, right? Try
Mm-hmm.
new things. And Sonal, I know that you describe yourself as not outgoing and, not a big conversation starter, but I sure have loved our girl time today and hearing all about your Chi Omega story. I am just thrilled to get to know you. I'm thrilled for Chi Omega to get to know you. And this too is kind of a little mini tribe, I think. So it's only fitting that we had you join us today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be able to share this with you guys.
All right. Thanks everyone for listening today, and stay tuned for more Chi O conversations coming your way. Also, if you have any podcast ideas or notable guests that you'd like to hear from in our next broadcast, just let us know by emailing us at chiomega@chiomega.com. And as always, keep an eye on Chi Omega's social media channels so that you can be sure to join us next time. Thank you.